Let the Dogs Out, the podcast designed to help you enjoy life with your best friend without all the frustrations. Join us each week as we help families across the country do just that. I'm your host, Corey, and I'm sad to say, once again, I'm not joined by my co-host, Sally. For those of you that are longtime viewers, Sally, where I'm pointing, would normally be sitting here, and she'd be with me today, but she's not. Still working on getting her van up and running. So, but she should be back next week. And so, anyways, that's that. Anyways, for those of you guys that don't know me, my name's Corey. I'm the founder of Wonder Dog Training. We've trained thousands of dogs across multiple cities and multiple states, and our goal is to help families enjoy life with their best friend without all the frustrations, kind of like I said in the intro. And we're doing a decent job of doing that so far. And this podcast is just another way that we help families do that, whether people are in training, they listen to this, or they're not in training, or they don't even live in one of our service areas, but they just listen to it and get advice. That's kind of the goal, is just help people and give out good, free information that we would normally charge for, but give it out free of cost where people can start training their dogs on their own and enjoying their life with their best friends. So, that's who I am. Today, I am bringing you guys a Q&A. Normally, Sally would take questions in from the audience, and people would write in questions, and then I'd answer those on the show. She would ask them to me, and I wouldn't know what the questions are until she asked them to me. But today, what I'm doing is I'm taking questions that people have asked me throughout the week at transformation sessions, and I've written them down, and I'm going to talk about them and answer those questions for you guys, because if other people are asking, I'm assuming that some of the people that are watching are probably dealing with something similar. And so that's kind of the goal, is take the questions that people ask me and give you answers to those. And so today we're going to be talking about what to do if your dog doesn't want to get on the leash because they're either too squirmy or they run around on whenever it's time to get them on a leash. The difference between a service dog, emotional support animal, and a therapy dog. And then how do I get my dog to sleep through the night when potty training? And are big dogs or little dogs easier to train? And then if we've got some extra time, I might rant about a couple of topics that have flustered me this week and talk to you about those too. So that's kind of what's on the agenda today. Some other stuff you can be looking out for is dog talk. So dog talk is where I come on and talk about a topic related to dogs, dog ownership, dog training, things like that. And then me and Sally will break that down. We've also got interviews. We've done 3 or 4 interviews so far. So if you want to, you can go back on the podcast feed and look at some of the interviews we've done. We've interviewed some amazing folks. So that's that. And then if you like and subscribe to the show and we keep growing the show, I'll keep taking the show on the road and interviewing other people and bring in some knowledge from other trainers back to our show and other dog-related experts. So that's kind of that. I think that's pretty much it. Let me think. Sorry, normally Sally keeps me on track. Anyways, okay. Well, I guess with that being said, a couple updates. One, we've got the 1-year anniversary of the podcast coming up in 4 days. April 23rd is going to be the 1-year anniversary, and we might be doing something special on that day, dropping a 1-year anniversary episode. I don't know. It's because this comes out in 2 days on the 21st. So yeah, we might be doing something special for that, so be looking out for that. We've got our 1-year anniversary coming up. So pretty excited about that. Updates with me and Mia, for those of you that keep up with us. We went to search and rescue last week. It was a ton of fun. We had a great time practicing and doing some stuff. She did really good at all of her searches and stuff. Mia is an air scent search and rescue dog in training. She's definitely not certified, but I don't think she ever will either. The lady last week was asking us like, oh, do you ever plan on getting her certified? Or like, do you ever want to like deploy and like help find people and stuff? And I'm like, man, it sounds fun, but for us, it's just a hobby. And she doesn't have the gas tank that she used to have when she was a baby either. I mean, she's 9 years old now. She just turned 9 a few weeks ago. So she doesn't have quite the gas tank that she used to have either. So tires out a little easier. So I don't know if we'll ever do that. But it is a fun hobby on the weekends. And we had a couple clients come out. That was a lot of fun too. And getting to practice some of our other clients and teach them some search and rescue stuff as well. So anyways, if you like the show, you get any value out of the show, please subscribe, like the show. Subscribe, follow whatever platform you're on. If you can like the episode, that'd be great too. That'd really help us with the algorithm. And if you want to engage with me in the comments, you can comment, and I will comment back and forth with you, and you can talk to me on the comments. So that's that. So anyways, also wanted to give a special shout out to a client who I definitely know is watching because he watches every episode and he comments on every episode as well. Today is Saturday as I'm recording, and this is the Sandpay's family's last weekend here in Memphis. They're moving to Hawaii with their corgi. The whole family's packing up and moving to Hawaii. So just wanted to say, goodbye to the Sanpay family here in Memphis for a little while and send us lots of updates. We've enjoyed working with y'all and training your dog for you over the course of time, and seeing y'all at all the tribe events and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. And so, yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, hope y'all enjoy Hawaii. Can't wait to get pictures and videos of your pup running around on the beach off leash and having a good time. So yeah, thank you so much. Before we get started, I wanted to read a new review. We got a new review out of our Austin, Texas location, 5 stars from Madeline Newlands. She left this review yesterday, it looks like, and she said, I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Ellie is a change dog, and I'm so lucky to have worked with Courtney, Sarah, and Maya. They were so professional, and I can't wait to take Ellie with me everywhere. So that is what it's all about right there, is taking dogs and really just changing them to where people can enjoy them, right? One of the things I'm going to rant about a little bit later is like, I don't want to hear about your problems that you have with your dog. I want to hear about your goals. Why did you get a dog in the first place? Like, what was the reasoning that you actually got a dog? And I love this review because she's like, I can't wait to take Ellie with me everywhere. And so great job to our team down in Austin, Texas, doing great work and helping people enjoy life with their best friends, which is what we're here for. And the whole reason we exist as a company is to help people enjoy life with their best friends. So shout out to the Austin team, Madeline and Ellie. Y'all did a great job. I'm sure, Madeline, you did a great job doing your homework. So anyways, we are also excited for you to take Ellie with you everywhere, and hope to see you at some of our Wonder Dog games and events that we do every Saturday. All right, with that being said, I guess it's actually time to jump into the show now. So question number 1 that I got this week, and once again, these are all questions that people have asked me throughout the week at different transformation sessions and stuff. So I've been meeting with families all week and signing them up for training and everything, and people ask me these questions. And so this is just, me giving you answers to the questions that I'm getting commonly asked. And I'm taking notes every time people ask me questions, writing them down so I can bring them onto the podcast. And I really like doing that because it's a lot of fun. Because sometimes I'll sit down and be like, okay, what should I talk about this week or whatnot? And I'll just go blank with ideas. But it's like, if I just take the questions that you guys already asked me, or of course, when Sally takes the writing questions or people ask her questions or whatnot. But whenever I'm doing it, it's a lot of fun because it's just stuff that I'm already talking about. So, all right. So with that being said, question number 1 I got is, I met with this weenie dog this week, and she is super cute, super squirmy though. And her owner has a lot of trouble leashing her up. And so there's a couple different categories. That are kind of problematic here. So number 1 is, I'm going to talk about her specifically. Like, the dog will like go on the bed, but then like the leash up, but then it's just like super squirmy and stuff. And then the second big problem that people run into with this is like, their dog is so excited to go out for a walk that they just start like running around the house. They won't come to him, won't let him actually put the leash on and stuff. And so those are kind of 2 separate problems. I guess it could be a third problem too, which is like, if you wanted to like put your dog in the crate or something, like, cause you're about to go to work, and then the dog's like, I am not getting in the crate. This would kind of be similar, but different. Let me grab a notepad. I don't know how, but at our office, these things just show up. I've never bought these big like Post-it notepads. I've never bought them before, but they just show up. Even like whenever we're about to run out, there's just like new ones around, and I love it. So whoever's doing that at our office, thank you so much for buying these, because these are really helpful. But I've never bought them, and they just show up. But I wanted to write that down real quick. So like we said, so Squirmy won't leash up at all, and then crate when leaving. I just want to keep myself on track. I guess I could use the iPad, but I like writing stuff down. All right, so first things first. So this lady, in her weenie dog, the dog was just really squirmy. So a lot of times what I'll tell people to do, if like your dog's like, I'll start with the first one, is like won't leash up. Like, they're just so excited, they're running around, won't let you actually get a hold of them. That'll fix the second problem, and then that'll help us address the first problem, which is like the squirminess. So if you are like, hey, you ready to go on a walk, a WALK, whatever you say to your dog to like actually get them ready to go, and then they just get excited and they start like bolting around the house, start running around the house, things like that. What do you actually do to be able to stop that from happening? Well, a couple things. Number 1, I would say training your dog on like a nice like place command would be really good. So like being able to tell your dog to like get on an object, a dog bed, point to a couch, whatever it is, and like say place or bed or whatever it is, and they get on there. That'd be really helpful to kind of isolate the dog to a particular space. And then what I'll typically do is I'll just like give the dog a treat. I'll grab the dog collar and then boom, clip the dog up, easy. So how do you actually do that though? So one thing I'll say is like, if your dog sees you grab the leash and then they get too excited and stuff, what I'd probably do is I just kind of flip the order of events. So if I want the dog to walk, like let's say your leash is by the door and I want the dog to like walk over to the door with me, rather than telling the dog, hey, do you want to go on a walk? I would say, hey, I would go grab the dog by the collar and I just walk the dog over the door, clip the dog up, boom, now I go on a walk. That would be option number 1. Option number 2 would be train your dog to play. So you could put like a little dog bed by the door or something like that. And then you could actually like grab a treat or something and then get the dog to like get on the dog bed and then sit. Then from there, you could grab the dog's collar, clip the dog up, boom. You could grab the leash, give the dog a treat, and then clip the dog up while the dog's grabbing the leash. And you just do this over and over again. And the dog finally realizes like, oh, if I actually want to go on the walk, then I have to just like sit and be still here. Right. So that'd be the first thing I would say, try something like that. You could also kind of secretly go grab the leash and then go find the dog in the house and catch the dog while they're sleeping or something like that. Clip them up and say, hey, you ready to go on a walk? Something like that. You could put the leash behind your back, go approach the dog, do the same thing, grab the dog's collar, like pet on the dog. There's a bunch of different stuff, but basically like get the I guess the overall principle here is like get to the dog before it becomes a problem, right? So if like the dog, like you say it like, hey, you want to go on a walk or whatever it is, or you want to go or whatever it is, and they're like super excited, go get the dog before it's actually a problem. Or get the dog to do something alternative before they start doing the bad thing that you don't like, basically. And of course, there's like training solutions. Like we could, call the dog and like, use a remote collar and like call the dog to us and like get them to sit and stay. There's a bunch of other stuff, but this is all just like very simple. Like you don't need a trainer for this. This is just like stuff you can do by yourself, right? So that would be what I'd say to start. So that would cross off like the list, like, hey, my dog won't leash up at all, right? Okay, so the next one I'd say is like, okay, what do I do if my dog is too like squirmy or something like that? What do I do if my dog is too squirmy? Well, what I would probably say to do if your dog is too squirmy, like, so if your dog gets on the bed and then they're just like wiggling around, they're flopping, they're like doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I would, like, let's say you're trying to put on like a prong collar or harness or something like that, right? And your dog won't let you because they keep flopping over, they're too squirmy or something like that. Like I said, what I typically do, kind of a couple different things. Let's say there's no leash on the dog and you're trying to get a harness on the dog first. What I do is I'd bend down to put the harness on. As soon as they flop or they start getting squirmy, I'd stand back up and I'd stand up straight and I'd wait for the dog to settle down and then I'd bend down again and I'd try to do the same thing. And then when they start going crazy, I'd stand back up and I'd do that over and over again until the dog realizes like, hey, if I stay still, the human will then put the thing on me. That would be what I would do, number one. The second option would be you could put a leash on the dog first and foremost, because not a lot, but some dogs are like ploppers. So like you go to like put the harness or the leash on them or the collar on them or something like that, and then they just like plop down. That's no fun either. And so what you could do for that is you could also, what's it called? Sorry, losing my train of thought here. Yeah, you could put the leash on the dog, then they plop and just like pull the dog back up on their feet. So that's one, it's kind of frustrating, especially if you're trying to put like a prong collar, remote collar on the dog or something like that, and they're kind of like plopping over, or you're trying to put a harness on the dog and they're plopping over. It's a little bit annoying. So like I said, just put a leash on their flat collar, they plop over, you take a couple steps back, say, come on, and then you get them to do it again, sit, try it again. They plop down, take a couple steps back, pull the dog to you, get them to sit again, and you start teaching the dog, hey, if you actually want to go on the walk like we're about to, all you have to do is just sit and be still so I can put this collar or this harness or whatever it is on you, and then from there, we'll go do it. This is just for like a harness and a leash too. If you're putting on something like a little bit more difficult, like a head halter or something like that, where you got to clip up a bunch of stuff, this could be even more difficult. But that would be generally speaking what I would do if the dog was just like too squirmy. I would start by bending down, wait for the dog to get squirmy, and then as soon as they do, what I'll do is, like I said, stand back up, wait for the dog to be still, go back down, and I'll just repeat that over and over again. I start conditioning the dog to say, hey, if you want me to put this on you, you got to be still. You got to be chill, and you got to be still. Right? That kind of rhymed. So anyways, if you do these and you lock in on both of these, it'll work for sure. Like just, lock in, get your dog to like sit down, stay. And if they start flopping, like I said, put them on a leash, take a couple steps back. And we kind of already addressed the issue of like they won't go at all. A kind of separate issue that's like similar but different is like, let's say you're getting ready to go to work in the mornings and like you're ready to go to work and you're like, you're dressed, you're ready to go, and like you're grabbing your purse or your keys or whatever it is, and then you're about to put the dog in the crate and they start running away because they don't want to get in the crate. That's very frustrating for a lot of owners. Just a lot of this too is like dogs that won't come in the house before you go to work. That's a separate issue. Might make that a separate podcast topic, but if your dog does that and they don't want to go in the crate in the mornings, one thing I do is I always just tell owners, like, switch the routine up. So if like your routine, like Mia's got my routine dialed to a T. Like the last thing we do before we walk out the door to go to the office in the morning is I take the coffee from the pour over and I pour it into a mug, like a to-go mug. And as soon as I start pouring it, she's literally across the room staring at me. And as soon as I start pouring it from the pour over thing into the mug, she stands up, walks over to me, and she's like, hey, we're ready to go now, right? And so I always just tell owners, switch the routine up. So if you're like last steps before you're about to walk out the door to go to the office is you grab your jacket, you put your jacket on, you grab your keys, grab your purse or whatever it is, and then you're like about to put the dog in the crate. I would say just take it like 3 or 4 steps earlier, put the dog in the crate before you grab your jacket and your purse and your keys and stuff like that. If you say crate and your dog starts running from you, kind of go back to what we just talked about earlier, is like go to the dog and don't say anything first. So like go to the dog, grab their collar, walk them over to the crate. Another way you can kind of incentivize this if you want to, and I think we talked about this on the crate episode, is just like get a special snack that your dog likes that's like associated with the crate, right? So if like you only give him bully sticks when he gets in the crate, perfect. Give him a bully stick when he gets in the crate, or give him a special like snack or something like that when he actually does get in the crate. That's a way you can kind of incentivize the dog to like actually want to get in the crate. But yeah, that's kind of what I would say to do, is like go up to the dog and grab the dog and put the dog in the crate, and don't like tell him crate like until you got a hold of the dog. That'd be number 1. Number 2 would be, like I said, change the routine up. So before you like put your, jacket, purse, keys, all that kind of stuff, actually go get the dog and then make the dog like sit and stay there, or like go get in the crate first. Also, so I've lost my train of thought a couple times while I've been talking. I want to say, and my voice might be a little funky too, a little sick, and I haven't really slept very well in like the last like 3 or 4 days. So forgive me if my brain's a little tired. But I still wanted to put out an episode anyways. So that is question number 1. How do I leash up my dog if they are too squirmy? But then also the other questions is like, what do I do if my dog won't leash up at all and they're making me chase them around the house, or if I'm getting ready for work and the dog's taking off on me? How do I fix all that stuff? So hopefully that helps some of you out there. Once again, if you got any value out of the show, please share the show with a friend, family member, colleague, something like that has a dog. Maybe you know a friend whose dog like doesn't listen to him in the mornings before they're about to go to work, causes him to be late to work. Send this episode to him. That'd be really helpful to me and to Sally, and yeah, help us grow the show. So thank you so much. All right. Second question is the difference between a service dog, an emotional support animal, and therapy dog. All right. So let's start with writing it down once again. All right. Let's, and I'm sure there's going to be some like technical small differences. I'm speaking in generalities here for like the common viewer. I'm sure I'm going to miss some technical details and stuff like that. So if you are an expert on all this stuff and you want to roast me in the comments, feel free. But these are the generalities of the differences between service dogs, emotional support animals, and therapy dogs. Because we have a lot of people that'll come to us and they'll say like, oh, I want my dog to be a service dog, or I want my dog to be an emotional support animal, and I want my dog to be a therapy dog. And then whenever I actually give them the description of what these 3 things are, they then change it and be like, oh, I want my dog to be that instead. So this is kind of just a breakdown of what the difference between the 3 is. So let's start with service dogs. Service dogs are a dog that is trained to perform a task to assist with a disability, basically. So in order for a dog to be classified as a service dog, the person has to have a disability, and then the dog must do something that assists with the disability. So some examples of these would be, I could give you a few off the top of my head. I would say number 1 is like people with like PTSD. They can be comforting, they can be calming, things like that. It could be people with like seizures. The dog can alert you to a seizure, blood sugar, stuff like that. If like your blood sugar is going low, it can kind of alert you before like the thing is. The thing that alerts you of your blood sugar. As you can tell, I'm clearly not very medically savvy. They can help out with like kids with autism, be trained for like kids with autism and stuff like that. They can help kids that have different like medical issues and stuff, and like be like a calming and comforting presence. They can help people in wheelchairs, like if they drop something, open doors, close doors, or cabinets, open and close cabinets, stuff like that. They can do all sorts of stuff. If you're deaf, they can alert you to sounds and noises. You can have a CNI dog, things like that. So there's a bunch of different like categories of like service dogs, right? Yeah, so there's a bunch of different like categories of service dogs. I'll say like so a service dog, once again, it's a dog. It's the classified as a service dog. The person has a disability that a dog would assist with, and then for a service dog to be legit, they have to be trained to perform a task to assist with a disability. So that's pretty much that. One thing too, I was going to say is like, there's not really like an official, like you don't have to have like some sort of official like vest or certificate or something like that. The dog just has to be trained to perform a task to assist with a disability. This is my understanding. The dog doesn't have to have like an official like certification or something like that, or an official vest with a patch or something like you see a lot of service dogs. I'm sure that helps, but it's not necessary. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was going to say, service dogs, another thing, benefit about service dogs, they're allowed everywhere that people are. So you can bring your dog everywhere, on planes, to restaurants, stuff like that, where dogs normally would not be allowed. You can bring them because they assist with your disability. And so they have all the same rights as like a person with like disabilities does. They can go everywhere. That's pretty much the big ones. I will say one thing to add into service dogs is like what service dogs are not. Service dogs are not just your dog that you want to bring everywhere with you. So I would say if you have an actual disability that your dog would assist with, that would classify you, and then your dog is then therefore trained to perform a task to assist with the disability. That would then classify your dog as a service dog. If you just really love your dog and you want to take him to Walmart with you, that is not a service dog. If you fake it, that is also not a service dog. Like, oh, you call your dog a service dog just because you want to bring him everywhere with you. That's not cool, and that really like hurts people that actually do have service dogs and that whose dogs actually like do perform a task to assist with the disability. That kind of like hurts them. If your dog is untrained, like you've got a dog that is a service dog and it's untrained, it pulls, it's reactive, things like that. I'm not going to go so far as to say that it's not a service dog, but you should definitely get your dog better trained because once again, it's like going to hurt people who have like actually well-trained dogs that are like service dogs and stuff like that. I would say one thing that you want to see in service dogs too is like they're pretty environmentally sound. Like I've seen people with like service dogs and I'm putting that in quotes, but like service dogs, and then they bring them out in public and their dogs are like nervous train wrecks. Like they're like panting like crazy. They're looking around like crazy. They're just, you can tell they're anxious. They're fearful of the environment itself. That's not going to make a great service dog. You want a service dog that's very environmentally sound. Like it doesn't care about loud noises, doesn't care about being in big crowds, doesn't care about people, and can just be somewhere and like chill. Like if you are at a restaurant, they can lay down next to you. They're not just scared out of their mind and like looking around like, oh God, I don't want to die here. So that would be kind of another thing for a service dog too, is like actually is trained. And if you've got a service dog and it's not well trained, hire a trainer, fix it. But if your dog like is like a diabetic alert dog or something like that, and you take it to Walmart with you and it's like pulling all over the place and it's barking at people and stuff like that, it might technically perform a task to assist with a disability, but like it looking bad in public is like not only gonna like make people judge you, but it's also gonna make people judge other people. This is a topic that people get pretty heated about, but whatever. Anyways, that's it. Service dogs. Emotional support animals. Emotional support animals are dogs that make you feel better. So like it's your own dog that makes you feel better, basically. So as the title suggests, it emotionally supports you, right? I mean, I kind of think like most dogs are emotional support animals. They might not have like the actual label that it's an emotional support animal, but like pretty much every person that owns a dog, their dog makes them feel better to some degree. If you're pre-training with us, your dog might make you feel stressed and anxious about certain things. But for the most part, people's dogs make them feel better. Like they like dogs. That's why we have dogs, right? Like there's actually like studies that say like petting dogs like calms people down, right? Or petting your own dog, I guess. So typically the big benefit of this is like if you've got like an apartment complex that like, and this is once again my general understanding of this. I'm not an expert on this by any means, but typically the big benefit here is like you're going to be able to like if you are trying to move into like an apartment complex that doesn't take dogs, I think they have to take the dog. Same thing with service dogs, of course. They have to take the dog, and they might not be able to charge you a pet fee if your dog's an emotional support animal. But they don't have the same rights as service dogs. So you can't have an emotional support animal and take it to Walmart or to the restaurant that doesn't allow dogs because it's your emotional support animal. For that to classify, it has to be an actual service dog. And if it's not, then you don't have the same rights. So, I think a doctor's note can help out with the service dog thing too. Like having a doctor's note that says like this person would benefit from a dog that's trained to do this. I meant to mention that too when I was talking about service dogs. Doesn't have to, from my understanding, but it might help. And once again, talking in generalities here. I'm not an expert on any of this, but these are like my general understanding. Anyways, emotional support animals, like I said, it's basically just a dog that makes you feel better, and it doesn't have the same rights as a service dog, but it does have certain rights. Like it does help you with certain things. Like I said, apartments, maybe skipping a pet fee or something like that. And then therapy dogs, lastly, our therapy dogs are dogs that make other people feel better. So this would be like you having a dog that's a therapy dog, and you can use therapy dogs for all sorts of stuff. You can go to old folks' homes, you can go to hospitals, you can like have dogs like sit. I've heard of people that have therapy dogs that like sit in court with people. So if it's like a victim and they've got to like confront their accuser on the stand or whatnot, they might have a therapy dog like laying down under their feet or something like that. So therapy dogs are just dogs that take the mind off of like whatever's going on and they put it onto the dog basically. And so it makes other people feel better. Typically, the dogs that you're going to see are like doing this are going to be like, I would say, one, very environmentally sound, so they can go lots of places. They're not really bothered by like dogs, people, noises, big crowds, things like that, right? They're not bothered by that stuff. They're just chill. And then they love people, clearly, naturally. They love people. They love other people, not just you. And yeah, they let people like pet all over them and rub all over them and make people feel better and stuff. And so that's kind of the difference between an emotional support animal, a therapy dog, and a service dog. So, if you want one of those, hopefully this kind of helps you classify like what you actually want. Because like I said, I had a family this past week and they're like, oh, we want this dog to be an emotional support animal for our son. And then so I kind of broke it down. They're like, oh, okay, we actually want him to be a service dog for our son long term, where he can actually go places and like help him whenever he's having episodes, things like that, right? And so that's kind of the difference between an emotional support animal, therapy dog, service dog. So that's question number 2, and I get that one a lot. So hopefully this will help out some people. And yeah, once again, if you just learned anything new, please share the show with a friend, family member, colleague, subscribe, like the show, things like that. That'd help us out a lot. And then 2 more questions for you guys that I got from this week. Pardon me. How do I get my dog to sleep through the night? This is question number 3. How do I get my dog to sleep through the night when potty training? Okay, so this is one that I get a lot from owners is when they're in the potty training process, like you got a new puppy and they're like waking up in the middle of the night, like at least once in the middle of the night or twice in the middle of the night to like let the dog out and stuff. And that's definitely necessary for some dogs. Some dogs like come out of the box and they can sleep through the night and they're fine. They're not going to pee and poop in the crate. Some dogs will wake up and whine in the middle of the night to get you to let them out and stuff like that. Some dogs will... yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. So how do you get transitioned to the point where like you can actually let the dog out or like sleep through the night? Because I'm a big advocate of like owners getting their sleep. Like, I mean, I haven't gotten sleep very well in like 3 days and I feel terrible. So like, I can only imagine like weeks and weeks of like you being up because your puppy's crying or screaming, potty in the house, all that kind of stuff, or waking you up in the middle of the night to potty. So I'm a big advocate of owners getting their sleep. So how do we fix this? Well, what I would typically say is like, let's say that you go to bed at 10, you let the dog out right before 10 and like you sleep like 10 to 6, right? We'll just use that as an example. So you let the dog out right before bed and then you wake up at 2 o'clock to let the dog out overnight. What I would say is just start backing it up little by little until like 6 a.m. basically. So like, you do that for a week or 2, you're letting the dog out at 2, things are going fine. Then back it up to like 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. Then a week or 2 later, back it up to like 4. Then 5, then 6, right? And let's just see like what the barrier is and then kind of adjust from there. So like if you are letting the dog out at 2, then you go to 3 and then 4 and the dog's like peeing in between like 3 or 4. Okay, then it's like, all right, well, we got a good baseline. So we're going to keep waking up at 3 for a little while until the dog can hold their bladder a little bit longer, right? So that'd be what I'd say first is like just start like expanding out the difference. Another one, so that would be the big one is just like start backing it up slowly over time. The one that I got specifically this week is like the dog will wake up and like walk on the bed and like step on the owners and stuff. And it's like easier to just let the dog out than ignore the dog. I would say if that's happening and it's like affecting your sleep that much, I would probably just make the dog sleep in a crate overnight. Like put the crate right next to your bed. The dog's still sleeping next to you. He's still in the room with you, things like that. But just put the dog in a crate because you might not actually need to go potty that bad. But it's like, well, if I can wake the owners up, then I will. And once again, dogs are creatures of habit, right? So if they learn like, oh, I can wake the guy up in the middle of the night and he's going to take me outside and we're going to have a good time, then why would he not just keep waking up at 3? Even though it's like bothersome to you, it might not be bothersome to him, right? So I would say that would be a big thing there too, is like just like teach the dog like, hey, if you are anyways, start backing it up overnight, make the dog sleep overnight in the crate. A couple other little tips you can do to help out with this is number 1 is like cut off food and water earlier. So if you're going to bed at 10, you might take up the water at like 7 or 8 and give the dog water like right whenever you wake up, but take the water up at like 7 or 8 and then feed the dog maybe at like 5 or something like that. Feed dinner at 5 or 6. And then, hopefully we can get a couple pees and poops before then. So then ideally if the dog does need to go outside overnight, it doesn't happen much longer before the dog just like their, bladder and stuff like kind of changes and they're like, okay, I don't need to go potty anymore. That'd be another idea too, is like take up food and water a little bit later. And then the last one I would say is if your dog is waking you up in the middle of the night to go potty, I would say make it the least fun potty break possible because we don't want this to be reinforced over and over and over again where the dog's waking us up all the time, every time, right? So this is kind of how I think about this. So I don't want to wake up every night to let the dog out at like 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever it is. I don't want to do that every night. So I want to make potty breaks overnight as least fun as possible. That's probably not proper English, but whatever. So what I mean by that is like, let's say your dog's like sleeping in a crate and then they start whimpering or whining or barking or whatnot if you don't let them out in the middle of the night. I'm going to go get a leash. I'm going to let the dog out. I'm going to clip the dog up. I'm going to take him right outside on a leash. We're going to potty, come right back in, and go to the crate. When they go potty, I'm going to say in a monotone voice, go potty, go pee, go poop, whatever your command is, good boy or good girl, whatever, and then from then, I'm going to walk them back in, and I'm going to put them up. I'm not talking. I'm not excited to see the dog overnight. I'm not giving like high praise, good boy, yes, go potty, like that during the middle. I would maybe during the middle of the day. I'm not doing none of that. I want to make it as boring as possible for the dog. I want them to realize like, oh, when it's middle of the night, it's dark still, and my owner's in pajamas, I go potty real quick, and then I come back in and I go to sleep. Because if I make it fun, the dog's off leash and they're like, oh, I'd rather go sniff the backyard than come to you when you're calling. And so now you're outside for 20 minutes in the middle of the night. Now you're awake. That's not cool. So put them on a leash, take them outside, make it real boring, come back in, back into the crate, boom, you're back to sleep. That's it. We don't want to make potty breaks fun in the middle of the night, because once again, dogs are creatures of habit, right? If they start learning like, oh, I can wake up in the middle of the night, this is kind of fun. This is actually a lot more fun than being in the crate overnight. Why would they not keep waking up, right? So I want to try to teach the dog, hey, this is not fun. This is not exciting for me or you. So please go potty, do your business, and then that's it, right? And so that's a bunch of helpful tips, like I said, for how to get your dog to sleep well through the night when potty training. Once again, I'm a big advocate of people getting their sleep. So if your dog's doing this, hopefully some of the stuff I just said can help you out, where your dog's not waking you up in the middle of the night to go potty. Hopefully this will help out some, because I really, like I said, if you're getting woken up, I don't want that to keep happening for you, because I know how frustrating that can be. I know how annoying that can be. So I really hope that this will help out. So if you know somebody that just got a puppy and they're potty training and they're getting woken up in the middle of the night, if you don't mind, send this episode to them. That would be helpful. And if you're doing that, while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to the show, like the episode. That'd mean a lot to me. And last but not least, question number 4, which is, are big dogs or little dogs easier to train? I get this one a lot. I get a lot of just like random, like not really random, but like dog training questions like this are like, are big or little dogs easier to train? What's your favorite breed to train? What's the hardest breed to train? What's your favorite part about being a dog trainer? Least favorite part about being, like, stuff like that. But this is a question I get a lot. And this week I met with a family with a little dog, and they were asking like, what's easier to train, like big dogs or little dogs? And I don't really have an answer. I think they all kind of train the same. There's like pros and cons to both. I think little dogs are typically like, most little dog breeds are very smart dogs, Chihuahuas, Schnauzers, Yorkies, Shih Tzus, Bichons, right? Those are all like very like smart breeds. Like they're all smart. Some of them have got their own unique personality traits. They're a little goofy, a little stubborn, things like that, right? But most of them are pretty sharp. And normally most dogs I meet are like either like goofy or edgy, and some of them are kind of in between, but like goofy or edgy. And like goofy is like kind of like do kind of in their own world, and then like edgy is like really sharp, and like sharp movements, things like that. A lot of like puppies, like not puppies, but like little dogs are like very edgy. Like they're just sharp. Like they've got quick motion. They're like good balance, good control, good energy, or good agility. They can jump high, things like that, right? And so like a lot of little dogs are like edgy, and so they're super smart, and so I'd say overall they're easy to train. Big dogs are easy to train too, though. In my experience, I mean, some dogs are a little tougher than others, clearly, but big dogs are easy to train too. One thing that I really like about big dogs is just like, I don't know, maybe it's like I can use like my whole like hand in my whole body or something like that. But if I'm walking like a little Schnauzer, like the family that just came into the building right before I shot this episode, they had like a little Schnauzer, and if I'm working with like a little Schnauzer, I'm like, I'm using like 2 fingers on the leash versus like a German Shepherd. I've got my whole hand on the leash or something like that, right? There's just more dog with like big dogs. There's just more dog to train because they're bigger, right? And so I would say maybe they're a little like, maybe not easier to control, but maybe easier to maneuver than a little dog or something like that, just because like I've got more dog to move. But overall, they both train up just fine. Like I said, some dogs are going to be easier than others. Some dogs are smarter than others. Some dogs are, more intelligent overall, things like that. But overall, we love big dogs. We love little dogs. We love dogs in between. We love giant dogs. We don't really take dogs that are like too small. And when I say like too small, I mean like sub 5 pounds, like under 5 pounds. We don't really train a ton of those unless owners are just like, man, Corey, we really want you to train our dog. Please train our dog. And the reason for that is just because like, man, it's like the collars don't fit. We've got to like, the collars don't really fit. And so they just, there's just not enough dog there, I guess, so to speak. Like, there's just not enough dog there to like speak. Like with like a little dog, like a little like 2-pound dog or something like that. It's like, what you can do with that? Like, what are, put it, if it's being bad, just like pick it up, and I'm just kind of goofing around. But We don't really train a dog like a ton of. I'd say like most of the like we've kind of dropped it down over the years, but it used to be like no dogs under 10 pounds and like under 7 and under 5. But we don't really train a dog like a ton of dogs like that little. For example, the other day I got like I can't even remember the breed. It might have been like a teacup Yorkie or something like that. It was like literally like less than a pound. Like it would quite literally fit in the palm of my hand. Like it was that tiny. And they were talking to me about training and like potty training and stuff like that. And I was like, guys, like I'd love to sell you training, but like I'd have to use like a piece of twine to like make a leash and a collar for this dog. Like you can't even buy anything that fits. She had bought like this like little, she had bought like this little harness for the dog and stuff. And I'm like, no, you need to buy like a guinea pig harness for this dog. Not even like sometimes with little dogs, I'll tell people like, oh, hey, like if you can't find a collar, like go check the cat section. Cause like cat collars are a lot smaller than like the smallest dog collars sometimes. Right. But like this dog would need like a little like guinea pig collar or leash or something like that. Or not guinea pig, like a hamster. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, if you're going to train a dog like that tiny, it's like, one, no collars or leashes are going to fit on the dog. And it's like, the problems that that you're going to have are going to be like, typically in my experience, you can be like potty training. They're not really letting the dog off leash very much anyway. So like, there's no point in like off leash training. They don't really walk the dog on a leash a ton. And so it's going to be more like potty training and stuff. And it's like, well, if that's the case, let me just give you like my potty training stuff and you just train your dog yourself and save some money. Right. Anyways. So overall, big dogs and little dogs, they train the same. There's pros and cons to both, I guess, but we love all dogs. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you got any questions that you want me to answer, you can comment them down below, or you can send them to my co-host, who is not here today, Sally at wonderdogtraining.com, and you can send those questions in, and I'm happy to answer those questions on the show. If you've got any questions, commentary, etc., about what I've talked about today, you can drop that down below as well. I'd love to talk to you in the comments. Yes, that's pretty much it. That's the topics that I've got. And I've got a couple of rants too. Where are we at? We had 36 minutes. All right, we'll go a little longer. All right, so a couple things that have been on my mind recently that I wanted to talk about. And this kind of goes with my little bit of a rant last week. And my rant last week was about like picking a dog that matches your lifestyle, right? Like if you have a dog that's like super energetic and you're super lazy, it's like, it's not a great matchup, right? Like you don't like, and the reason it's not a great matchup is because it's like your dog's energy level is causing the problem, right? Like if you're not getting your dog's energy out in a productive way, exercise, mental stimulation, training, things like that, it's like, yeah, of course it's going to be a nightmare, right? And that's actually kind of one of the things I have on my topic today or the Corey rant was like, people be like, Corey, my dog doesn't listen. Corey, my dog's so hyper. And my like kind of general answer is like, let's assume too that like you're paired up with like a good dog, right? So like energy levels like fine, like you're, it's like it matches, right? Like you're semi-active, you got a semi-active dog, things like that. But let me tie a bow on what I was saying. Last week, it was more like, okay, if you got like a super hyper dog though, and like you're like, elderly or you're lazy and don't want to do anything with the dog, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like pick a dog that's like I don't want to just train your dog to like not do stuff because it annoys you, right? Like I don't want to just train your dog to like not jump and like not bark because it's like got too much energy and you don't want to do anything about it, right? I want to like help people that like, it's like kind of two things. It's like the two things I had on my list today is like talking about people who say like, Corey, my dog doesn't listen. It's so hyper. And it's like, yeah, think about it from the dog's point of view. And the second one was like, tell me about your goals, not just your problems, right? Like that review I read to you, like clicking back on it, it's like the last sentence says, they were so professional. I can't wait to take Ellie with me everywhere. It's like, yeah, let me solve your problems, help you get to your goals rather than just like solving the problem for the problem's sake. I guess that's kind of the point. So this one family this week, they were like, Corey, overall, they're like, yeah, my dog it doesn't listen. It's so hyper. And it's like, yeah, think about it from the dog's point of view though. Like if you've got a 6-month-old dog, it's a puppy. Like, and to be fair, I'm not even saying like you need to be a training expert or anything like that, but you've done nothing with it. You've set no rules, no manners, no boundaries, no nothing. You're not exercising the dog and stuff. Of course it's not going to listen. Of course it's going to be hyper. Why would it not be? If you've got a dog, you need to set out time daily to like exercise the dog, walk around the dog, play fetch with the dog, give the dog's brain something to do, buy some feeder bowl toys, get it some puzzle toys, make it work for its food. That's like stuff that like doesn't take a bunch of time or attention. Yeah, train the dog. Let's set some rules and some manners and boundaries for the house. Like, hey, yeah, you don't go out the front door unless you're told to go out the front door. You don't get on the couch unless you're told to get on the couch. When we walk nice. Like we're not pulling. If you're gonna walk a heel, you're walking a heel. If you're walking ahead of me, you're not pulling on me. When I say come, I mean it the first time, right? Like set rules and boundaries and stuff like that. But like you can't just expect your dog that's 6 months old, that's like a little like pity mixed puppy or something like that, to just be like, oh yeah, it's just hyper and it doesn't listen. Of course it doesn't. Think about it from the dog's point of view. And then like I'll make people's dog like sit down and like be still next to me for like a little bit, or like I'll just put the dog on a leash to just like calm the dog down, and people are like, oh wow, that's amazing, I can't believe that. Well, yeah, it's like we're making the dog do something. And it's like if it has never been forced to do anything or it's never been like made to do anything before, it's like, yeah, why would it listen to you? Because if you don't have a standard, you don't make it listen, you tell it to do something and it just doesn't. And it's like, yeah, why would I do that? I don't want to do that. What I'm doing is way more fun than what you want me to do. Of course, it's not going to listen. And so overall, it's like, just the 3 things that we ask people to do: train your dog 20 minutes a day, exercise your dog every single day, and mentally and physically, basically. Well, I guess it's 2 things, but the second one kind of splits off into 2. Like, yeah, train your dog, what to do, what not to do. And that's just like, and it's like, and I think I talked about this in the last episode. Like, you don't have to do that forever. It's like, once the dog's trained, then you just live to the rules and manners that you have. So it's like, yeah, when we walk on a leash, we're walking nice, we're walking a heel, we're coming in when called the first time, like we're waiting at the door, we're not jumping on people when they come in, right? We're not setting out time every day to train the dog, but it's like, we're just sticking with the rules that we have, which is, kind of training. Like if we're on a walk, yeah, like loose leash walking is technically training if you're keeping up with it, right? And then the second one is like, well, this kind of comes from like my general answer of like what makes a trained dog. It's like, well, training, stimulation, and then maturity. And the third one is like we don't have any control over like how old the dog is, right? Like, and how fast the dog matures, because dogs like mature at like different levels at different ages and stuff. But the training piece, yeah, we can set out 20 minutes a day. We can train the dog and then give the dog stimulation, like, and that splits off into 2 categories: mental and physical, right? So mental, of course, or physical rather, is like a physical exercise, right? It's like helping your dog like get all that excess energy out, right? Because like people come to me and they'll say like, oh, my dog like has nighttime zoomies or the witching hour or whatnot, especially with like puppies where they're just like gnawing on you and biting on you and going crazy and getting into stuff they're not supposed to. And it's like, yeah, that's typically going to be a result of like excess energy, right? Like not giving the dog enough extra. And then even if you do exercise your dog, you might still have like a little bit of a witching hour, but it's typically going to come from like not exercising the dog and not giving the dog's brain something to do. And so they got all this excess energy and it's like, oh, let me tear some shit up. Yeah. So anyways, so mental and physical, mental and physical. So physical, of course, exercise your dog, walk your dog, run your dog, play fetch with your dog, take your dog swimming, something like that, right? Get the dog's physical energy out, right? Then mental is, of course, like I said, giving your dog's brain something to do. This could be interactive toys they can play with by themselves. This could be feeder bowl toys that make them work for their food, puzzle toys that make them work for their food. Could be training them on something new, tons of different stuff. And just look up like mental stimulation activities for dogs on YouTube and you'll find endless opportunities to do that. But that's pretty much it. It's like, those are like the 2 biggest things that are going to like make you see an immediate difference. Is like training your dog 20 minutes a day and then giving your dog's like body and brain something to do. That'll make a huge difference. But if you don't do those things, yeah, of course, think about it from the dog's point of view. They've never been trained to do anything. They have no rules, no boundaries, no manners, no standards. They're not getting exercise properly. Their brain's not getting worked out, things like that. And so it's, of course, yeah, they're going to do terrible stuff and they're going to chew up your couch or they're going to jump on your guests or they're going to bolt out the door or they're not going to come when called when you call them because you're not making them, right? Things like that, right? And so that's kind of the big idea is like, think about things from the dog's point of view in that sense. And then the second thing I wanted to kind of rant about today too is like, tell me about your training goals, not just your training problems. Clearly, I've got to solve some of your training problems. If your dog jumps, it pulls, it doesn't come when called, it bolts out the door, it eats off the counter, right? Those are all clearly problems, right? But I don't want to just solve your dog's training problems for the sake of solving your dog's training problems. I want to train your dog, clearly fix the problems, but we want to get you to your goals. Tell me, why did you get a dog in the first place? Did you want to be able to like take your dog on nice walks after work and like de-stress after work? Did you want to be able to take your dog to patios with you and like hang out with you under a table when you're drinking a beer in the springtime? Did you want to be able to travel with your dog? Did you want to be able to take your dog running with you? Did you want to be able to take your dog have your dog off leash and like actually come back when called and you take them to the dog park, right? Things like that. Tell me about your training goals, not just your training problems. And so like one of the things I've been thinking about switching is like when I'm telling people like their transformation session, like make a list. I don't want just a list of your big problem behaviors. Like, sure, tell me those too, but tell me your goals. Like, what was the whole reason you got a dog in the first place, right? Like, I want to help you solve your problems as a result to get to your goals. And like, once again, that review that we got, that last sentence, they were so professional. I can't wait to take Ellen with me everywhere. It's like, we solved her problems so she could take her dog everywhere, right? Like that's kind of what I'm talking about here. It's like, tell me your goals, not just your problems. Why did you get a dog in the first place, right? Like a lot of people want to get a dog for a companion or a protector or like make him like feel better or be a guard dog or something like that, right? And a lot of times the problems that people face with their dogs stand in the way of getting them to their goals, but it's becoming, I don't know, increasingly frustrating when it's like people just come to me and they're like, oh yeah, he jumps, he pulls, he doesn't come when he's called, he eats off the counter, he does this and that. But then I ask them like what their training goals are and it's like, oh, I just want them to listen. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure. But like what else? Like, what else? Did you want like a dog to like ride around with you in the truck on Sunday? Because that sounds like a lot of fun, right? Like stuff like that. So don't just tell me your problems because I don't want to just solve your problems for the sake of solving your problems. I know I have to. I want to solve your problems to help you get to your goals. And so, and if you don't have training goals, like solving a problem, sure, that is a goal. But like, solve your problem with the intention of like, what's the outcome of solving the problem? Okay, so if it's like jumping, well, I don't want my dog to jump on me, on people because, well, people don't want to come over as much, and then I won't be able to entertain people as much, or my family doesn't want to come over, my friends don't want to come over because my dog's annoying them and being annoying to them and stuff like that. So what is, okay, so yeah, the jump into the problem. But the goal of that is like, hey, I want to be able to bring friends and family members over to my house, and I want my dog to be I want them to enjoy my dog as much as I enjoy my dog without all the jumping and stuff like that, right? That is what I'm talking about. Like, what's the outcome of the problem? Yeah, my dog pulls on the leash. Okay, got it. Yeah, nobody likes your dog pulling on the leash. That's not a fun way to walk your dog. Why do you want your dog to stop pulling on you? Well, I work a stressful job, and after I get home from work, I'd really love to be able to take the dog on a walk and just like kind of de-stress and decompress after work and like take the dog on a walk. But right now, walking him currently stresses me out because every time I take him on a walk, he's just pulling, he's sniffing all over the place, he's crisscrossing. Sometimes he doesn't want to walk. Like if we're headed home, he doesn't want to walk. And so I really just want to be able to take my dog on nice walks so I can de-stress after work, and it'll be like a good way for him to get his energy out and me to get my excess energy out and stuff like that, right? That's a lot different than like, oh yeah, my dog just pulls on a leash and I'm like, I'm tired of him pulling on a leash. It's like, tell me your goals, not just your problems. Anyways, rant over. Once again, pardon me for being a little sniffly and a little sick. So that's the episode for today. So today we covered a lot of ground. Today we covered how to leash your dog up if they're too squirmy or won't leash up at all. We talked about the difference between service dogs, emotional support animals, and therapy dogs, how to potty train your dog overnight so they're not waking you up overnight every night. And then we talked about are big dogs or little dogs easier to train. And then on this episode of Corey Ranch, we talked about why your dog doesn't listen, why your dog's too hyper, and how to actually fix that. And then we also talked about come up with your training goals, fix your training problems, and give me your training goals. Like, why did you get a dog in the first place? Like, what are your goals? And it's bigger than just solving the problem if my dog pulls or doesn't come in called, right? And so that's what we covered on this episode. If you found this helpful, once again, if you would not mind sharing the show with a friend, family member, colleague, that would mean the world to us. It only takes a second to like the show, subscribe to the show, blast the link off to somebody. But it mean the world to me because we spend time every week doing this, and I want to help people. My goal is like my intentions here are very genuine and they're very pure. I want to help people enjoy life with their best friends without all the frustrations. I love Mia, my dog, so much. She's quite literally the dog in our logo. Yeah, we don't have the logo on the podcast logo, but she's literally the dog in the logo. I love her so much, and I get to enjoy her every single day, and she's great. And I want you to enjoy your dog the same way, and I want your friends and family members and neighbors and colleagues and stuff like that to enjoy their dogs the same way. So anyways, if you don't mind liking the show, subscribing to the show, sharing it with a friend or family member, that'd mean the world to me, just so that way we can help grow the show and get it bigger and like really get this out to more people. And as we do, I'll continue to take the show on the road, talk to more people, interview more dog-related experts and trainers and stuff like that. So all that being said, thank you so much for listening. It's hanging out with me till the end. Be looking for Sally to come back next week. We're going to get some episodes banked so that way we can drop some episodes with Miss Sally back on the show as well. So be looking for that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I hope y'all have a great weekend. I recorded this on Saturday, and this will be out on Monday, the day after Easter. But I hope you and your family had a great Easter. And I hope y'all got to remember the reason that we celebrate Easter in the first place, which is our Lord and Savior. So anyways, that's it. Thank you guys. Talk to y'all later. Bye.